Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's head scratcher comes from a viewer named Paperclip Pirate 77. Thanks for the suggestion, Pirate. You asked, how was the sticky note accidentally invented? What kind of accident leaves behind a rainbow of tiny, slightly clingy squares? Great question, Pirate. Thanks for sailing into the comments with that one. So, what was the accident? And how do you go from a failed superglue to something your boss yells at you for sticking all over your monitor? Let's rewind the paper trail and find out. Right here on Explaining Everything. The story starts at 3M, the company best known for making tape, sandpaper, and the occasional miracle. Back in 1968, one of their scientists, Dr. Spencer Silver, was trying to create the world's strongest adhesive. And he succeeded in the sense that he absolutely did not do that. What he made instead was a weird, low-tack adhesive that stuck lightly to surfaces, but could also be peeled off without leaving a mark. Think of it like a glue that couldn't make up its mind. It was the commitment phobe of adhesives. It would gently cling, then ghost you. At first, no one at 3M knew what to do with it. Silver kept pitching it internally, saying, "Look, it's reusable. It sticks without mess. It's gentle." And executives were like, "Okay, so, it's glue for people who are scared of glue?" No one saw a use for it, but Silver just kept talking about his weird invention like it was a rescued kitten no one wanted to adopt. Enter Art Fry, a fellow 3M scientist and part-time church choir singer. In the 1970s, Fry had a very specific problem. During choir practice, he'd mark pages in his hymn book with scraps of paper, and those papers always fell out. It was like the hymns were rejecting him personally. He needed a bookmark that would stay put, but not damage the page. A sticky-ish bookmark. Then it hit him. He remembered Spencer Silver and his clingy little glue that had been floating around the office like a puppy no one would adopt. Fry grabbed some of Silver's adhesive and put it on little bits of paper. He tried it in his hymn book. It worked. It was perfect. Sticky, but not too sticky. Like a polite Canadian roommate. This was it. Fry brought the idea to 3M higher-ups, and they were just as confused as before. Wait, you want to sell tiny pieces of paper that stick and then unstick? On purpose? The idea of a removable note sounded like the least useful thing ever. They were like, couldn't people just write on regular paper and use regular tape? Or not be so weirdly obsessed with temporary notes? But Fry pushed for it. He developed a prototype, handing it out to co-workers like it was a new flavor of gum. And guess what? People loved it. They stuck them on documents, monitors, phones, foreheads, everywhere. Once you used one, you were hooked. 3M eventually gave in and ran a test market in Boise, Idaho. Because naturally, if you want to see if something's going to change the world, you start with Boise. They handed out free samples of what they were now calling press and peel pads. People went bananas. They didn't just like them. They hoarded them. Offices started calling 3M and asking when they could buy more. Boise essentially became a sticky note cult overnight. One 3M executive probably spat out his coffee and yelled, "People like these." For real? With that, 3M rebranded the product. They named it Post-it Notes and rolled it out nationwide in 1980. The rest, as they say, is stationery history. Post-it notes went from totally unnecessary to literally everywhere in under a decade. Suddenly, it wasn't enough to just have yellow ones. We needed pink ones, blue ones, ones shaped like hearts, stars, or passive-aggressive arrows. Every office had them. Every student had them. Your mom had a kitchen cabinet filled with them, even though she only ever wrote "Call Judy" on them and never, ever called Judy. And all of it happened because a guy tried to invent a superglue and accidentally created the glue equivalent of a polite suggestion. Today, Post-it notes are used by everyone, from teachers to CEOs to chaotic evil roommates who label the milk mine. They've been to art museums. They've been in movies. People have written breakup notes, love notes, and passive-aggressive fridge warnings on them. But here's the fun part. That original wimpy glue from Spencer Silver? Still basically the same formula today. It was never upgraded, never replaced. The same accident that baffled a lab in 1968 is what's still holding up your "Don't forget dentist" note on the fridge. Spencer Silver once said that his glue wasn't a failure. It was a solution waiting for a problem. If you enjoyed this deep dive about those peculiar, not-so-sticky papers, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe slap a sticky note on your screen that says, "Watch more Explaining Everything." And hey, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.